The whole reason I turned towards practice, the whole reason I went towards Zen or the Dharma or meditation or mindfulness was because I was pretty sure it was going to be the way out of suffering. And that's the way we all begin. And it is right. By the way, it is true. It is true. So that's not incorrect. It is accurate. And I know it to be more and more accurate the longer my practice continues. So this is all good. It only turns out to be more true. But what is also true, and what Pema is talking about, is that that means we have to turn towards that which is challenging, difficult, unpleasant, things I don't like, things I don't want, the thought I didn't appreciate, the person who's in my face who I don't really need to, right? That this is the reality as well. One of the other things that Pema said in chapter 1, and I'm only going to review this for a moment, good morning, is that there are two types of awakened heart minds. And they're happening actually in synchronicity, informing each other all the time. And the technical words for those are relative or real life, or the humanness of our awakened heart, how that lives, plays, expresses, and is made contact with. That human heart that is filled with the Dharma, filled with awakening, always there. And that gets challenging, doesn't it? Always there. It's like, where the hell could that have gone? Where to go in me? Because it's certainly not here right now in the contraction, in the shutdown, in the aggression, in the greed, in the wanting. It's not true. First of all, it's just actually not true. It is there. It is there. You can't make contact with that right now because you've turned into the little mini hole called my experience, this moment, not liking, and it is the brainstem's nature to do so. But Pema says, but don't worry. Don't worry, because even in your greed, even in your hatred, even in your aggression, even in your fuck it, I don't care, I want to go home, I don't want to do this anymore, there is that aspect of you. And it is also there and real. I know it for sure. That says, wait a minute, I can even see this playing, right? You know it, don't you? I'm even watching me do it. I'm even aware as I'm screaming at the dog, as I'm throwing the glass, as whatever the horrendous moments we've all had, screaming at the kids in the car. Good morning. There is still the part of us that knows, that sees, that recognizes, and that holds that experience too, isn't there? And in this chapter, chapter 1, Pema says, we don't have to worry about ultimate bodhicitta. It takes care of itself. But the thing we might then do is see if we can't keep waking up, because it's there for us. Can't we keep waking up to the painful moment, to the shutdown moment, to the collapsed moment, to the one moment where we're screaming, and that in fact, and it is its truth, and I happen to know it again, we can use that one as the path. It's that very moment, not the one where we're just peaceful, right? We've got it all together. It's looking pretty good. We can actually use a better, the one where everything has fallen apart, right? And she's even got a book also, doesn't she, called When Things Fall Apart for this reason. She says, this is actually the path, not the other one. This is the one where we can finally see our own humanness, not rest in some kind of spiritual imagination. This is the one where we can feel then not only for ourselves in that torn up moment, but for everybody else who's ever been torn up too, right? Everybody else who's torn up too. Because we look at them all day, don't we? Going, if only not, couldn't you get it together? I mean, really, just once, grab a hold of this and lift up. And really, who is it? It's only us. It's only the shadow. It's only that which we're projecting, because otherwise, what is it? It's just our humanness, our vulnerability, our fear, right? And our pain. Isn't it true? We're all nodding, right? Like, I know this. And then what happens? Just shut up. Go away. Get it together. Stop talking. Right? And so the relative bodhicitta is simply a beautiful, beautiful opportunity to see our own closed downness, to see our own vulnerability, and to recognize even our aggression, even our greed, even our hatred is simply a manifestation of that. And then she says, there's only one thing to do. If we know this, then this is the Dharma, isn't it? If we know this, then there's only one thing left to do. What's that? Open. However we do, right? However it is we open. And by the way, the opening, we mistake that for sweetness sometimes, right? Or we architecture that up as being nice, or but in compassion, with wisdom, with our fullest hearts, with filled with loving kindness and peace, you can also say, knock it off. Can't you? That sometimes that is the way. Like, no, you're just not going to do this to you, right? Because that's really the point. There cannot be this harm. There cannot be, right? This is just not acceptable. And that can be right also, that it doesn't look like just, and Pem is so sweet, right? You go, oh my God, how am I ever going to get to that? Not true. So I'm just going to look here before we practice. This is what we're going to do today. We're going to make contact with a place we're closed. Steve, good to see you. Glad you're here. We are always going to be here as long as we're breathing. As long as we're breathing, and then even beyond, right? Because this is what we know we all need. So thank you for being here with us. So I thought I would just read a little part of this. This is from chapter 2 now. This is Libby's book, and of course you could underline every page, but I'll just read this paragraph before we practice. And here's what Pema has to say about tapping into the spring of bodhicitta, the thing that's always there for you. And how do we make contact with it? Since it's always present, never gone, always available, how do we remember and move towards and open into that rather than just do our habit? So here's what she says. We need a bit more warning about what it feels like when the walls start tumbling down. We need to be told that fear and trembling accompany growing up. Oh shit. And that letting go of all those devices, right? All that push away, all that shut down, all that run the other way takes infinite courage. Finding the courage to go to the places that scare us cannot happen without compassionate inquiry into the workings of the ego. So we ask ourselves, what do I do when I feel I can't handle it? What do I do when I feel like I can't handle what's going on? Where do I look for strength? And in what do I place my trust? Where do I go? Running from groundlessness only weakens us and brings pain. Running from groundlessness. Openness doesn't come from resisting our fears, but from getting to know them well. We know this, don't we really? We all know it. I know it for sure. It doesn't mean I do it every moment either. I get caught, I get gripped, right? I go, no, this one, this is the time. I make sense of it. I make sense of my shutdown and my aggression completely. Like, nope, this one I get to. No. That aggression is always pain. It is always fear. It is never, never otherwise. The knock it off that comes from compassion doesn't even feel the same. It doesn't even feel the same. And it looks like, no, you're not going to. We get to say, you're not going to do this, but it's not coming from the same place. It doesn't ignite from the same part of the body. It doesn't. And it doesn't play the same. It doesn't play the same. I have a 37-year-old son who said, I remember the day you said you can't do that anymore. And he said, and I knew you were just telling the truth. It wasn't anything about me. It wasn't, you don't love me. It was like, I'm going to hurt myself if I keep doing this. And I heard you. I said it loud. It wasn't, right? Like, knock it off. No more. And how do we do that then? Not only for our children, how do we do that for ourselves? Right? How do we then go, let's stop this. This isn't serving. There is no benefit here. No one wins. It just collapses us or shuts us down, because that's not actually life. Don't mistake it. That's you, isn't it? Life's just being life. It's as hard as it is, or as scary as it is, or as gorgeous as it is. The person who went, no, not me, that's something in us. And remember, that's our humanness. We don't have to get rid of it. Pema says, let's get closer on the path and see what's really there. And so let's practice that together. Carrie, is there any chat that I need to tend to? Thank you all for joining us. We have a lovely little group under the deck here on this beautiful September fall morning. And so we're just going to, for a minute, a couple breaths, relax into our seat and find our support there. And it's good to make adjustments, and just recognizing a little thing happening back here that I don't need. As we talked about in the all day, establishing conducive conditions. This is not fluffing up your little pillow. It's actually, wait, let me be stable. Let me be balanced. Let me embody that which I'm going to invite the mind to hold and to take the shape of as well. And so we feel in. And then we set the aspirations and intentions for our practice right through that embodied being. May all the afflictions that cause us to shut down, may they be recognized. May they be held like a lost child. And rather than our habits for cutting off, for turning away, for judging, may we turn towards and open. And as we do so for ourselves, the truth is we will do so for all beings. And that's a fact. all beings everywhere without exception, omitting none. Awakening us all on this path to happiness and freedom. Gathering the attention around the chest, the diaphragm, and the belly for a moment. Just feeling what's happening there. And then we're going to gather the breath. We're going to take a very large next in breath when it comes. Let's breathe in together. Hold it at the top and release the body. And then let it out audibly, big audible out. We're going to do it again, gathering the in breath. And then breathing naturally. You just created extra space and room. And for these first few breaths, we are invited first to make contact with the truth of the awakened heart mind in us. And so we breathe for a moment directly into the heart space, that enlivened, enlarged, embodied heart space. We place attention and we turn towards right here. Relative Bodhicitta is enacted right here as well. One of the spots. And see what you notice there. See if you can soften the body. Let the muscles, the flesh simply hang from the bone. And even in these first few breaths, we're growing up, says Pema. We're growing in the Dharma, making contact with whatever is real right here. I like to use the physical felt sense first, just in the heart space, the pinch, the ache, the ouch, the block, the numbness. As I wrote this week, that achy, breaky heart. We're not trying to change anything. We're not forcing a feeling. We're just being with whatever sensations are present or not present here. They just feel like a complete block of ice. And if that's so, greet that. Welcome that. Awaken to that. You will notice the habit body as well. The habit body is that which resists, that which says, no, I don't want to feel this. And when you recognize that, you may offer a gentle touch, a little endearment, maybe just friendly attention. I often say to myself, it's okay. It's okay. And then I'd like you to come back into that heart space. We acknowledge the habit, the tension, the tightness. We allow, accept, and honor it. And then we move closer and stay. It may be a momentary sensation. Something that is coming and going. It may feel continuous, and be watchful of that because, of course, it is also changing. So then see if you could move a little closer. Maybe again, take the hand, placing it in the area of the heart. Maybe gentle touch with the fingertips. Maybe a gentle pat or rub. It's not to get rid of. It's to come home to. And remembering that we're bringing not only our attention, that's a beautiful beginning, But then we also bring that unconditional friendliness. Whatever it is, a pinch, an ache, a numbness, a nothing. I will be with this. Breathe it in and open. With each in breath, we can move a little closer. We bring that invitation for inquiry, exploration, discovery, that curiosity. And for us here, moving into this heart of Bodhicitta, this breaking heart, the one that sees the suffering in the world and in oneself. And rather than our habits of shutting down, numbing out, getting busy, and turning the other way, with that essential friendliness, we turn towards and open. And that invites the response. Let the contact with this awakened, present, and achy heart, let it inform the whole body. Soften the whole body. Let whatever's there be true. We open the whole body, mind, to the resonance and vibration of this Bodhi heart. The Bodhi heart is the one that turns towards the truth of suffering. Just in these small little moments right here with the very truth of body sensations. There is the contact, the recognition. And Pema says, not only do we touch into it, that tightness, that grip, that queasy, that tender or that tight, whatever's there, it's all there, by the way. We touch into it, and then it's useful to actually let it get bigger. And we don't have to add storyline for that. That's where we soften the body. We just let it vibrate the truth of that into the whole body by softening. And the Bodhi heart, by its nature, welcomes, opens, and receives. And I have, as an example, a little autopilot in me so that I make contact with the ache, that tenderness, that grip. And then I very quickly go numb for a moment. That's that not liking, not wanting nature, the habit nature of mind. And I just watched that happen. Often we can see that the body then brings its army, its forces and weapons. We may get tight in the neck, tight in the shoulders, tight somewhere else in the body, or achy somewhere else. Just noticing. We can go off into thinking. We can shorten the breath. We can get distracted by the fly on our little toe. Just noticing what habits continue to appear, and we open to those as well. There will be sensations you like and sensations you don't like. There will be habits that appear that you want to get rid of, but the recognition is most important. And then the gentle allowing. It's good to know. Whether you're numbing out or it's all shifted into the neck. This is the Dharma revealed. And we can breathe and be with this as well. Breathing in, inviting that unconditional friendliness, that tightness that's now in the front of my neck. The thought, I wish we were doing something more fun today. There's no more fun than the truth and our compassionate response to it. The wisdom of Bodhicitta recognizes and moves closer, is inclusive, always accepting, and allowing whatever's here. And the compassion of our Bodhi hearts holds, abides, tends, responds. The very softening instead of gripping is actually a response. The opening instead of closing. And the gentleness, the kindness, the curiosity that comes even when we're all shut down, even when we're completely distracted. That this too is a moment of awakening. There may be thoughts that come along with particular sensations. There may be storylines. There may be whole chapters and scripts about why it should be or it shouldn't be, or how it got there, or how you're supposed to get rid of it. And we can open with recognition, allowing, and kindness here too. Just noticing storylines or distraction or thinking. And before we get rid of, even before we shift our attention back to the body, we can smile. This too is a part of the human experience. And then rather than slap the mind around, we can simply invite it home. Into the infinite space of Bodhicitta. The one who knows the truth of our humanness, who feels too, who aches and is tender too. And then response: love, kindness, care, compassion, holding, presence. And who, in that very moment, right there, in that contact, gets bigger and feels for us all, hears the cries of the whole of the world. It's no longer just my grip, my numb, my restlessness. It's a part of the humanness of us all. May we be filled with loving kindness. And may we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease. And may we be happy. And may this very practice contribute this very day. It is 8:34, just because I know people have places to go. I made a decision today in the practice not to invite the thinking. Sometimes we do, and just say, what thoughts come up from that body experience? And I decided not to do that. We do that so well. We do it so well on our own. We don't need any help going, what are the thoughts? They're right there going, oh, gee, there that is, or I didn't want that, or is this what's supposed to be happening? Right? Whatever's going on. Thoughts never being the problem, though. We have a tendency to right, decide that thoughts are bad or the problem, or it's never actually true. Carrie, do you want me to bring that for you? Okay. So we don't have to reject thoughts. It's not the practice. We don't have to not think. That's not the practice, right? Not helpful. You could spend the whole practice and one's whole practice life there. We don't have to make them something. This means this doesn't mean that. It's one of my personal favorites as therapists. Turn that into something bigger. That means this about you, or that means this about me, or that means this about the other. We don't have to do that either. We could simply just recognize thoughts as thoughts and as a part of, again, this human incarnation, right? Thoughts happen and are also quite a blessing. And there's not really anything we have to do with them. The recognition really is, and then that bit of acceptance, allowing, or kindness that we can bring to them, that's actually sufficient. I don't think we have to do more. And I hear a lot, really, how am I going to get rid of those? What does that really mean about me? Right? Everybody's thought it, right? If I could only change those, then I'd be better. It's just not true. It's not required at all. You don't have to, it's easier and harder, right? And harder than that. I'm just going to check in with the group that's here first, but just know that anybody on chat's more than welcome to join too. And so what did your body, how did it inform you? How does the body inform you? What did you notice about that?
Felt myself getting very well acquainted with sleepiness this morning.
Sleepy.
And at first I was like, oh, great, there goes the practice. I'm not going to be able to, it's over. And then I started to, sleepiness is here, and get a little closer to it. And I could feel the kind of like pendulum swing of feeling the sleepiness and then how sensitive my body was in that. So like a sound would, it was like very startling in the sleepiness.
Yes.
And then I wanted to shut it off. And it was just really illuminating for me, because I'm tired a lot these days with a little toddler and pregnant with another. And
Taryn just told us she's pregnant with another baby. I don't know if you heard that. It's very exciting. Congratulations.
Thank you. So sleepiness is here a lot in my life.
And extra, even extra.
Yes, yeah. And but I notice this practice helped me feel a little compassion for how sensitive the body is. My body is when I'm tired, and because then I'm very quick to shut down or to snap at someone or get defensive or kind of close down. And I could feel all of it happening.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on in sleepiness.
Yeah.
I tune out for it.
Yes. Right. We get scared, I think, often when we're sleepy, don't we? Like then the things I'm responsible for, the things I need to attend to, or these lists. And not just that though, but really just this wakefulness that we want to bring to ourselves, to our families, to our young ones in particular, right? Like this now feels dangerous as well. And so I know a lot about sleepiness. We all do, don't we? From the work we do, the attending we do, and it can get pretty scary. Like, I don't know how to get out of this because I'm not going to get to go home and take a 4-hour nap. That's not going to, right? So then it can breed a story like, I can't be okay. If I can't be okay, the other can't be okay either. Right? Sleepiness is a beautiful dharma. And what we do with it is really amazing, especially when we've got the list, I think, of, and then we got to do some things and be this way. Yeah. Can you make contact with the fear in there? Not just sleepy at all, because remember, then sleepy is just sleepy, like thoughts are just thoughts, but all that comes with it, like, which you were describing, I think, is that effect. And where do you feel the fear? How does one know fear in the body? I had a very distinct experience of that, because we often don't like the experience. We didn't pick it. We're not, I don't want that one. I want some other experience. Like, I'd rather be restless. It's just a better way to go. How did you know fear? I caught it in the leaving this area right away for a twanging piece. And I always get it right here. It's a habit for me. I just get it tighter, a little gripped or a little ache. Something starts to activate over on this side for me. And then I get shifted to that and going, what do I have to do here? What do I need to attend to here? It's very beautifully distracting. Like, we got to fix that, got to make that better, got to soften that, got to allow that, whatever the thinking, that's still thinking. And then I can see that, oh, here I am just all engaged in this thing I'm trying to get rid of, even if I try to talk myself out of that. And then I can simply come back and feel for that. right? That's the practice. Then I could just feel for myself, not only in my sleepiness, not only in my achiness, but for all the stuff right, that I land on that, the not wanting, the thinking it's got to be different, the thinking I'm failed and got to be different, the self-pity. We go right there, poor me, I got this situation, and right, whatever we're doing. So that's the question. How do you notice? What did the body have to tell you? Number one question. Number two is, could you feel, sense, know the resistance, the fear that often comes with that? And what's the strategy?
So I'd like to.
Yes.
So I was feeling this wonderful peacefulness of all your words, and I was like, oh, I'm feeling, and then all of a sudden my thought came to me of, oh, I'm being pulled by my daughter, I'm being pulled by my husband, I'm being in my zone. And then my reality came back to me of all the ways I'm being pulled. And it just like brings it all up here. It's like this anxiety. I was trying to think, how do I describe the feeling? It's an anxiety that happens. Like, I just want to shut them down and say, don't invade this peacefulness I'm having.
Get out of my peace.
It's true. It's like, give me a minute of it. How did you get in there?
I love that question. Let's stick with that question. How did they get in there? How did they get in there? That's right. Right? Because you went like this even.
Yeah.
How did they get in
the
there?
effort it took to get here and make this happen. And I was like, oh, I got it. I have it. And then I was like, wait, oh my God. How did they get me?
Yes. I don't know if it's them. I'm not that sure.
Of course it's not them.
Yes, right. Yes.
Because they're
over
happy.
there.
They're doing
just,
their thing. They're happy,
yeah, they're just pulling in the way they know how to pull.
They're not even aware of my struggle.
No, very probably. And certainly not likely intentioned it.
No,
they might notice that it works.
I think they're in their own struggles.
Yeah, aren't we?
I buy into it, but
yeah,
it got me.
Yeah. And so seeing where we get caught is beautiful. That recognition is always beautiful. And I don't think it's always peaceful. Right? Isn't it true? I don't think it's always peaceful first. I think it does come with a jar or a jerk or a tight or a grip or ow, right? And that's on the path. However, to the right, exactly. Like, what's happening here? What's happening is, I don't want this. What's happening is the tight neck that doesn't want this. What's happening is, right, I'd rather have the other thought, or I'd rather have the other family. It does, really, it's all the same, isn't it? It's just some kind of not this. And actually what we know for sure is what, right, we resist persists, said Greg last Tuesday. Right? Now, by the way, I don't think we're going to get out of that resistance. I don't think that's the path. I don't think there's any way around it. I don't think that's hopeful at all. I do think we can soften right into the resistance. Can't we? We can recognize, we can go, there it is, tight neck, gripping, moving through the thing. And rather than get rid of, shut down, close off, get mad at ourselves or anyone else, and I'm really exaggerating, I don't think it's quite that, right? We could simply go like this, tender. Really, I think let's call it all tender. Tender like this, sleepy. Tender like this, you just blew my bliss. Tender like, I don't want my neck to hurt today, where I'm better start stretching now. Right? Just tender. And I think in that way, we can be a little more receiving, right? A little more open rather than going ow or right, tender, whatever the experience. Yeah, I think we can invite that. And in that tenderness, there's more of a, I just want to hold that. That's the heart of bodhicitta. It says, I will hold you in your sleepiness, in your achiness, in your ornery because you lost your whatever, right? Can we recognize it all in its tenderness? It's Dennis says, breathing and my heart, in my heart, such a strong connection. The deeper the breath and holding it and wondering where I would be going if I didn't release. The real fear is the not knowing. A lot of fear comes from not, that's true. Just looking at all the stuff you think you need, then stopping and realizing what's essential. Yes. In every breath, we're doing that, aren't we? Every single breath. We're going, is this useful? Is this, and how do I recognize it? In really any recognition for me, I was just talking about this, wasn't I, is seeing the very shutdown, how beautiful and useful and essential it is. And it doesn't really then matter what we're shutting down to. It's always something in us, isn't it? Even when we've decided it's the family or the kids or not really. It's something in us we're shutting down to. And that's why we use the hands. That's why we use phrases, right? Things like, sweetheart, I'm here, says Thich Nhat Hanh. I use a much more general, it's okay. It's okay, right? And I say that a lot, it's okay. We're here, right? So whatever good can come, whatever the work, whatever the teachings, whatever the lessons, whatever the Dharma, let's just be here, right? Short course, I like to call it, to the end of suffering. Let's just be here. I think I'm going to put that on a t-shirt. Short course to the end of suffering. Let's just be here. And that's this whole book, right? That's every Dharma book. That's every spiritual text. That's, isn't it? Isn't it the same? It's not a complex. It's let's just then be here with whatever that is. Got someone here, let me see. Sometimes that is all you need to do. It may be all the time. That's all you need to do first. It doesn't mean you won't then, from that wisdom, from that clarity, right, from that compassion, from that whole heart, then choose an action. And I have a lot of confidence in whatever comes from that very, let's just be here. I really, whatever it is, do it. And even if you go, boy, this is not really my nature. This is not typical. That's not my way. It probably won't be. Guess why? It's no longer a habit. It's not like I always, that's right, isn't it? Right? I always run into the burning building. No, not today. No, the Dharma says, no, not wise. Not, I always run the other way. The Dharma says, not good idea. Better stand here. I don't know, even, said Dennis, right? Like the scary part is, I don't know, but we do know. But we don't trust what we know. And I think that's more true. I think something's ringing like crazy in here, going, don't do it, or victory. And the other thing, well, I don't know. I don't know what happens and by the way, how do we define heroes? The person who just acted. And they often report it that way, don't they? They go, I didn't know. It didn't make any sense to me to jump on that track and lay on that kid, which is actually a true story, in a New York subway, right? Yeah. It didn't make any sense. I did it anyway. And of course, guess what was amazing? Everyone was fine. This was a man, by the way, who worked in small spaces. He had a wisdom. He didn't even know, because it wasn't like a thought, but it was like, probably this, isn't that amazing? It gives me goosebumps. And he just went with it because we were now at the precipice. right? There's no more time. There's no, I better think about, wait a minute, let me, if it's 12 inches and then I got that kid, that's another. And then, so there's none of that, right? You're just wisdom like that. And by the way, it's happening all the time. It's not special. It's not him, right? It isn't. It's not true. Don't believe it. It's you. You don't listen. Because what, ding, ding, ding. What about if I call it matrixing, cost benefit analysis. Let's, before I do anything. And so then what? Often you don't do it. You don't do the very thing that the Bodhi heart was inviting at all. I do this regularly. I'll out myself. I do this regularly with the $5 I didn't put in my car, so that when the guy is on the side of the road, I can just go here, right? And then I go, yeah, okay, just don't look at him. Just, right? Rather than, okay, how do I, this really is here. My heart is really open. How do I honor that, regard that? Well, you start there anyway, and then you roll down your window and you go, meet me at In and Out. Or right, whatever that is. And is it smooth? No, I don't think so. I don't think it is. I think it's, I don't even know what to say, except I want to give you something and I don't have anything. I don't know how to make sense of that right now, except there it is. Right. And by the way, in some amazing way, don't you know it too? It's always beautiful, isn't it? Isn't the confused moment just as beautiful? Really? It is, right? Going, I don't know, I should have, and I didn't, and I don't know what to do. Dennis, I think you're right. I don't know how to fix this. I don't know how to live it. I just want to name it, because that'll be a start. And it is, isn't it? My heart's open like this. I'm just going to name that. And I don't know what it looks like. And I don't think there's any obligation. Well, I don't mean that. I don't think there's any certain way that that then is lived. I think it's bigger than our imaginations, actually.
Something it's taken me a while to learn. I think you learned with having kids is that maybe you feel like you're supposed to fix things and you
Yeah.
want to fix things, but that's not the wisest course, and it's not really what the other person's looking for. They don't want, especially teenagers.
That's right.
They might want to just have a sounding board, but they don't want you to try to fix it or tell them how to fix it.
And maybe they're just looking to have their experience, right? And it's a little bigger because they don't know how to have it either. They're not particularly well regulated, as we know, right? That brain is just going, wah! And they're just inexperiencing it. And it can be feel big or disruptive or, right? Look, there's so much there. And the suffering can look so big because they're screaming often at you, but really just screaming, right? Like,
Part of
this
their
is
growth
life.
process.
Yeah, isn't it? This is life. This is what you have to work. This is it. I don't want this, or I don't want you, which is the same as I don't want this. We're just practicing, right? Kids practice with parents, by the way. Stay tuned, Taryn.
Well, the toddlers already
Stay,
doing that.
oh, that's right. Stay tuned. It just gets better. And then they get bigger, right? But isn't that us all screaming? It's all of us screaming at the truth of this life. It is vulnerable like this. It is tender like this. And we don't have to try to be some other way. And then interestingly, I notice I don't have to require somebody else to be another way either. Like, I know my screaming self, I know yours too, right? And that's the Bodhi heart that naturally expands. It cannot do otherwise. As I open to myself, so then I open to all beings. That's a fact, right? And we're all screaming, and we're all sleepy, and we're all just wanting our bliss, aren't we? Yes, we are. And I can feel for us all. Can't you? I can own that part of me. Yes. And now we're bigger. Well, Not exactly, but right, for the relative. Not exactly. We are then who we really are. I think that's more true. Then we are who we really are. Right. I'm going to check in before we just say goodbye. It's almost 9 o'clock. I want to be as regarding. Greg, I see you're there. I just want to check in and see if there's anything we need to be telling our community. Oh, by the way, I guess there is. We are not going to be, we had a retreat week scheduled this week. We're not going to be doing that. We are going to be doing one days, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And so if you can make yourself free, Thursday, Friday, and or Saturday, and some people are picking more than one day, and some people are just picking a day, we will be up at Quest Haven as commuters. They do not have space for anyone in residential. Carrie and I will be there in our little house they keep for us, which is very, very sweet. But everyone else will be coming in as a commuter. It will be 9 to 5. That's the way we'll be practicing Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And I will send out tomorrow a little reminder with a little link and a little sign up in case anybody is able to do that. Just know that's what we're going to be doing this year. Greg, are you on?
I am. Yeah, so I think I'm going to be there Thursday. And looking forward to that. Just the other thing, I guess, would be that we are doing St. Andrew's October the 6th, I believe.
It's usually the second Tuesday.
Let me look here again and see if I messed that up.
Okay, I think we try for the second week. I don't know why, but
Yeah, so that'd be the 13th then.
yes.
That'd be the 13th. Okay. Yeah, you're right.
Okay, we usually do the second Tuesday.
Right.
So the
So,
13th, people will have to have any food items collected for St. Andrews at Carrie's house. And we'll put the address. She lives right there by San Diego Academy.
And so that's coming up pretty close, pretty soon
Yeah.
here. So put it on your
Yeah.
calendar. The last
Yeah.
time that we donated, they reinforced that they're providing for 200 families every week. A lot of seniors and
A lot of seniors, yes.
a lot of seniors, and they were so grateful for what we provided to them. It really was meaningful. So
Yes.
you know, we're doing it every other month, but they are very appreciative. And so let's see what we can do this time. And so let's see, we will have the next one actually will be in December, which will be
Yeah,
the holiday season, which would
great.
be good timing.
That's great.
And let's see, I think that's all I have.
I will remind people that if you can't get to a store, if you can't get your items together and get them to carry, what you can do is make a donation to EMC Giving. And there's memo you can designate there. And I will go shopping as I do every time. And I simply go to the Dollar Tree and buy tuna and get as much protein as I can because they frequently get dried goods. So I don't invest much in that. I try to get those items as well as things like canned tomatoes and other things that people can use to make whole meals as best we can. But if you can't get that to Carrie, get her some money and we will know that. And any monies will go towards purchases of food that Greg then delivers. And thank you, Greg, for that. Greg takes that. And last time we had a truckload, didn't we?
We had yeah, I have a little pickup and the whole thing was totally packed, brimming.
Yeah, that is, well, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. And so let's just take one moment together here as I'm recollecting those noble principles. The three purities, these are called: good at the beginning, as we set our intention to be awake for all beings, to be awake until the end of suffering for all beings. Good at the beginning, good in the middle, that's the practice, the effort, the embodied intention, and good, beautiful at the end, as we see the benefits and the contributions. Beautiful at the beginning, beautiful in the middle, beautiful at the end. May we all be happy, safe. May we all have ease and be well. Thank you all for your practice this day. So be it. Thank you all. Thank you all
Yeah.
so much. My love to the Sangha and to the practice and to the teachings and to the Buddha in you, who recognizes sleepiness, who recognizes, right, wanting something else, and who recognizes the tenderness in our own bodies. Stay there a little bit, right? Drop in a little bit. Let it be true. Let it be true. And then we place that hand right gently there. We offer that endearing phrase, I'm here, it's okay. And then we just pour that compassionate heart right into that tender spot. All right, we're going to practice in that way this week. Thank you all. Chapter 2 for places that scare you is this Tuesday. If you want me to send you the recording, just know I will do that, even when you can't be there. Right, just know I'm trying to get that out to everyone, even if for some reason you can't be there. All right, everyone, be well.
Thank
See
you.
you. Thank you all so much.
Do you like the chair spoken?
No,